Hey everyone, it's Fury here. I've got another video for you this week. In this video we're going to talk about common supply drops versus rare supply drops and the numbers and chances of you getting epic rares, commons, and legendaries, as well as salvage. Now, it took me several hours to do some calculations and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of supply drops to add up and to basically get the percentages, or the most accurate percentages, of what you will get from a supply drop. Now, I'm going to be putting my data up on the screen as well as saying it. So before I start, I would like to say that these numbers were calculated before the update that added the jam camo and a few more weapon variants, but I do not think that update would change any of these numbers whatsoever. So for our rare supply drops, 48.3% of what came out was common. 39.33% of what came out was rare. 8.48% was legendary, and 4.11% was epic. So that is the rare supply drop category. For the common supply drop category, you're going to get 1.1% is epic, 2.2% is legendary, 12.2% is rare, and 90% is common. So I guess that's why they call them common supply drops. So now I'm going to show you which one is worth to spend your keys on. So imagine this scenario. You have 600 keys, and you cannot decide if you should get 60 common supply drops, and you'll get 180 items from that, or should you get 20 rare supply drops, and you'll get 60 items for that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a second to pick which one you want. The 60 common supply drops or the 20 rare supply drops. Again, with your 600 keys you've been saving up. Okay, so if you chose 20 rare supply drops, 2.5 of your 60 items you got would have been epic. Now, chances are you wouldn't have even gotten an epic weapon. So, on average, in order to get an epic weapon, you would have to open somewhere around 35 rare supply drops. And I'll give you the number for common supply drops in a minute. Alright, so back to what you would have gotten. So, again, if you chose the 20 rares, you would have gotten 2.5 epic items. You would have also gotten 5 legendary items, 23 rare items, and somewhere around 29 common. Now, none of those, most of those are decimal numbers, and I didn't give you the full decimals for them, so if you add those up, that wouldn't actually give you 60, it would give you somewhere around 59 or maybe 61. Alright, so now for common supply drops. If you chose the 60 common supply drops, you would have gotten 180 items. 152 of those would have been common items, 22 would be rare items, 4 would be legendary items, and 2 would be epic. Now, if you wanted an epic weapon variant, you would have had to open about 120 common supply drops to get that. And keep in mind, out of those 120 supply drops, you're not even guaranteed to get an epic weapon, or guaranteed to get an epic weapon variant that you don't already have. So, actually, with the side-by-side comparison, you're not going to have as good of a chance to get epic weapons and other epic items as well as legendary items in a common supply drop as you would a rare supply drop with that amount of keys. Now keep in mind, I'm still adding up the fact that it takes 3 common supply drops to equal 1 rare supply drop. But if you specifically want epic weapons or epic whatever, then you're going to want to open the 20 rare supply drops and not the 60 commons. So for some reason everybody was saying that common supply drops were better than rare supply drops, and that is not true. Actually, it's a little bit different. Rare supply drops are just a tad bit better. So if you open those supply drops only hoping you would get a weapon, your best chance out of the 2 would have been to pick the rare, because you have about a 0.5% better chance of a rare, or of an epic weapon or an epic item than you would choosing the common. But on top of all of that, rare supply drops also give you a salvage bonus at the end of every drop, anywhere from 10 salvage to 300 salvage. So if you would just get average for every drop, you would get around 800 salvage for those 20 supply drops you opened. Now that is not anywhere near enough to craft an epic weapon, but it is enough to craft a rare and almost enough to craft the legendary. There's also an unnamed stat for the common supply drop. However, this is not going to put it ahead or give it any much more of an advantage. If you open, or since you got 180 items out of that, you only got 60 from your rare supply drop. Obviously, the rare supply drop items were better, but the common supply drop items all had duplicates, and duplicate gives you, or every time you get a duplicate item, you do get bonus salvage. However, that was not added it up, and it wasn't really anything extra. Like, it was maybe an average of 5 per drop, which is almost nothing. And that depends on how many drops you've opened in the past. So that fluctuates and changes for every person that's opening drop. Well, you did it. You made it to the end of another one of my cringy ass videos. Do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe if you'd like to. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.